So I don't know if he's stealing his siblings' arms, his subjects' arms, who that guy is on the tapestry in that dining hall. If that's the original ruler, does he have his arms? Why, hello there. It is 119 days until Elden Ring comes out on January 21st, 2022, and this is the Elden Wait. On today's Elden Wait, we will be talking about the latest Elden Ring tweet, which includes a little bit of lore about our favorite Lord of Stormvale, and I will also talk about what elements of marketing I think are pretty much guaranteed for Elden Ring before its release in 119 days. Let's get into it. So the Elden Ring tweet this week is another fan art retweet, and as always, it is wonderful fan art. This fan art comes from Cat Lego back in 2019 when the Elden Ring trailer was first shown at E3 2019, and it depicts who we now know as Godrick from the announcement trailer with his many arms. And we have seen him since then in the gameplay trailer, and we have heard more about him from the closed doors gameplay impressions that came to us in August of 2021. The quote that is accompanying this retweet says, "Born a weakling child, he coveted the strength of his kin. So he was born weak, but he desired to be strong. I'm on the record being a bit dubious about his role as one of the 6 demigod lords of the lands between, and this only adds further suspicion. He does seem to be part of Marika's family. And Marika is, of course, the ruler of the lands between. Her name is Marika the Eternal, and we learned through marketing that she gave birth to these demigod children, and those are who eventually take control of the Great Runes, which are the shards of the Elden Ring. So Godrick from this tweet does seem to be part of Marika's family, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was not the original ruler or Lord of Stormvale Castle, and that maybe he even seized power sometime during the Shattering, which is the war that occurred between Marika's children. While we don't know for sure, what we do know is that his story is now a little bit better defined for us. He was born weak, and he desired the strength that those in his family had. And from here we can only speculate, but it seems like the Great Rune may have given him a means to take that strength from his family in a very real and physical way. So I don't know if he's stealing his siblings' arms, his subjects' arms, who that guy is on the tapestry in that dining hall. If that's the original ruler, does he have his arms? We don't know exactly what he's done, but we do get the impression that he probably, because of his covetous nature, would do quite a few things in order to become strong like his kin. So that is the fan art retweet for this week. A pretty good quote, and gives us a little bit of information, but I think that myself, along with many of you guys, are starting to get just, a little used to the routine, and we want to see new and more information. And so for the next part of this video, I wanted to go over what things I think we are probably guaranteed to get for Elden Ring before its release, and to get an idea of how much they still have left to show in the remaining 119 days. So we've seen from them 2 trailers, 1 announcement sort of teaser, and a gameplay trailer. We've gotten a few interviews from Miyazaki, and then there was a behind closed doors demo that was shown to press and a few select content creators in which they gave their impressions. And then beyond that, we've gotten a bunch of screenshots. So we have a decent base of information, but even compared to other Souls titles, there is less shown so far than Elden Ring than other titles, and it is releasing sooner than those titles would release comparatively. I'm not worried about this at all. I don't think it is necessarily accurate to compare Elden Ring with previous titles, especially because just from the simple fact that the last Dark Souls game that Bandai Namco released was out 5 years ago, and their approaches could be very different. And from what I've seen, at least for Bandai Namco recently, the last 3 months are when they really start to go strong on marketing for a title, and we aren't quite there yet. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't a bit surprised that they haven't pushed George R. R. Martin's involvement so far, and that they haven't been spending the last few months really getting that out into a mainstream audience. I've said many times before, I thought it would take 6 months for them to really take advantage of getting George R. R. Martin's name out there and getting people who maybe are interested in video games, but more importantly are George R. R. Martin fans, to really become interested in Elden Ring. But also, I am not a marketing person, so take all that with a grain of salt. But based off of previous titles and just generally what you see from games, here's what I think we have left to see at a bare minimum, and hopefully we will get more than this. I think we have at least one other general story or gameplay trailer, and this will likely come out, prior to the launch trailer, so I think we'll get 2 more sort of traditional trailers. I also think we will be getting a gameplay segment that is some uncut gameplay, whether it's 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, close to what press saw, I'm not entirely sure. But I think we will get an uncut gameplay segment. And then otherwise, they still need to make a collector's edition announcement, which usually has some sort of modified trailer attached to it. Usually it's kind of like a repeat of the gameplay trailer, but with a different tag at the end. And they will probably make some fanfare about the collector's edition to make people know it's there and to get people to buy it. This isn't marketing, but as Mordecai showed with his table, I don't think it is likely at this point that there will be a public network test for Elden Ring. I think that From Software is pretty consistent in doing that about 5 months out from release, and we are already well within that, and I imagine that open world testing is probably more difficult, so they will probably keep that internal for this title. But regardless, we still have 4 pretty significant pieces of marketing that I think will be coming out in the next 119 days, which doesn't give them much time, because it's not even really 119 days. For my money, by the time you're reaching mid-November, you're starting to compete with the holiday, and that is not really something you want to compete with. So I feel like October and the beginning of November have to be a pretty significant time frame for Elden Ring's marketing, and it will probably continue a bit through the holidays, and we may get something minor with TGA, but I think by the time you reach the Game Awards in December, it's already near a month out from the game's release, and isn't really the time when you would show something super significant, with the launch trailer coming about a few days before the game releases being the last truly significant thing that we would see come out for the game. But if you have another trailer coming out, you're not going to release a whole new trailer just a few weeks prior. You would probably want to give it more space than that. And of course, you don't want to bunch everything together, so if you still have a gameplay segment to show off, then you would want to do that at least a few weeks out from another trailer. So we're already seeing the marketing needing to back up a couple months from December, which lands us pretty much where we are. So I expect something to come out in the next few weeks, and if it doesn't, I'm not particularly worried, but I do kind of wonder what the heck is going on. So we will see. But those are my predictions for the elements that games just typically show off when marketing a game. And this being a new IP, I think they will want to go hot and heavy with it as it gets into these final 3 months. And that's when we'll see some very significant marketing crop up. I could be wrong, I'm not a marketing expert, but I do spend a lot of time thinking about these things. I find it generally interesting. If you weren't aware, I've done a couple of Dark Souls marketing videos just to look at what Bandai Namco and Sony and Activision have done for previous games by From Software, and there's been some pretty interesting things, so I am excited to see if Elden Ring gets anything on the level of interest that we got with a Dark Souls 3 Wings challenge or a Dark Souls 2 Shield contest. Those things were all very novel and kind of unique and dorky, and I'm curious to see if they'll do anything like that with Elden Ring. But until then, we'll keep waiting and watching, and when information does come out for Elden Ring, I will be covering it in detail and bringing the last 2 years of obsessive analysis to bear and providing a nice summary of anything that comes out and is new. And if you are starting to forget some of the elements we already know, you can check out my Elden Ring So Far series to get really in-depth looks at what we know about Elden Ring so far. But until then, I'll see you for the next Elden Wait. Thanks for watching.